Welcome to episode 11 of Fables from the Pickled Quipper. I am your host and master of dungeons, Phil. We pick up today, back in the undercroft of Bofin's Tor, abandoned shrine to Moradin, but there's still a little exploring left to do. I mean, they've probably cleared everything, it'll be fine. Let's follow along and see what happens. We left off with you guys still in the down in the second level of Bofin's Tor, having cleared out some more of it and performed the ritual to cleanse the tomb area of the necromancer's influence. So you've taken a short rest. I believe you still have a couple of doors you haven't explored yet.
Yeah, we did the corridor last time.
You've basically sort of cleared off this whole sort of southern portion of the temple, but there's still a couple of doors you haven't been through from the original, like when you go down the stairs from the temple above.
So I reckon right about the time Claire's finishing up the ritual, Sylvaris is kind of staring at her and he's just like,
well, did it work?
So if anyone's been watching Claire do ceremony, it's probably there's been some long pauses and some staring at the ceiling while she's trying to remember. There's maybe been some weird hand motions that maybe look like they're made up just to make it seem a little more legit, because she's not 100% sure what she's actually doing. But yeah, as she kind of finishes up and turns to Sylvaris, she kind of just like wipes her hands together and says, well, I think that about did it.
Roll a religion check.
It would be a 13.
Okay. So you kind of take a look around. You've used some of the holy water to on the sort of bloodstained runes. Looking at it as you kind of finish up the ceremony, you're kind of just sort of standing there watching it, and you can actually see the blood just sort of dissolves. So you kind of you say that to Sylvaris, and you're like, you feel good about it, and then literally as you say that, the blood sort of dissolves and just basically kind of disappears. It's like the holy water manages to wash the area clean, and there are no signs of evil necromantic runes left on the floor.
Esco wanders over to Claire and pats her on the shoulder and gives her an impressed look.
Claire just kind of grins and blushes. She's very pleased with herself right now.
Well then, I guess we should investigate the entirety of this place.
Just so everybody knows, I'm still on the corner asleep. So
I'm walk over and kind of nudge him.
I guess Esca's just gonna sort of shrug and start heading back down the corridor we came down, unless anybody objects. North towards the main stair room. I'm just going to let people know, remind people that I heard some kind of very faint noise that was hard to make out from the west door, but I didn't hear anything from the door that was next to this one.
Okay, so you're back in the room where the stairs come down. The braziers are mysteriously still lit.
Is there heat coming
Guess
off
I'll
of them?
say
Yep, they are putting out some heat.
Esca's going to gently push the easterly door.
Okay. The corridor behind the door, so this is another swivelly door. The corridor ahead of you is dark. There's a little bit of light coming through, so you can see through. And you can see that it opens up into a larger space, but beyond that you can't really see much.
Shall I have a quick look? It's hard to see.
You're the quietest. It would probably be a good idea.
If you hear a scream, that means it's gone bad. That will be my signal. Probably will look over my shoulder and sort of give Bardur a little shrug and a head tilt towards it, just to see if he wants to do the usual 1-2 punch.
yeah, I'll follow behind.
I want to force him because he's quite frail right now, but
I'm actually a lot better, thank you.
As you kind of move from the light coming from the braziers, and you get into proper darkness, you can actually see the room properly ahead of you. and it's a strange scene. The room opens up. It's about a 30-foot corridor, and then it opens up. There's a small platform at the end of the corridor, and then a large chasm, 40 feet across, like 40 feet in length, about 35 feet wide. From here, you can't see how deep. You can just see that the platform drops off. But there is some sort of bridge leading across. And on the other side of the bridge, there's another platform. And there is a statue.
Do I recognize the statue?
Make a perception with disadvantage. Because you're
Wait.
far away, and it is very dark.
11.
It's too hard to make out.
Not bad.
Um,
Okay.
Maybe Dwarven?
Is there any sort of, I guess while I'm straining to discern, is there any noise or anything moving?
You didn't hear anything down here so far. It smells kind of musty.
I think, to be honest, I'm gonna just turn back around and I shall report all of that as clearly as possible to the group.
Does it look dangerous?
I couldn't see the bottom of this chasm. Why would they need this in a temple? Can anybody, Barder, do you know anything about this god that seems like they'd need a rickety bridge across to a statue?
Does anything ring a bell to me, Phil?
Let's have you and Claire actually both roll either history or religion.
It would be an 18 religion for Claire.
11 for history.
Okay. Bardor, nothing really springs to mind for you. I don't know that Bardor's necessarily been the most devout dwarf his whole life. Claire, on the other hand, has spent time in temples, and knows that this sort of setup is not that unusual for some dwarven temples, especially. The bridge, is not intended to be rickety necessarily, but perhaps given to look rickety at the very least. Essentially, it is just a test of faith, a statue, a small shrine set up on the far side. Especially younger initiates and acolytes are sent to these areas within the temple to prove their worth.
So yeah, she'll just turn to the group and still kind of trying to keep a hushed tone just because of don't know what else is behind the other door. So it sounds a bit like a faith walk, and sometimes there would be items hidden on the other side. And I know when I tried to sense what kind of magic the barrier is over there, it did seem like it needed a key or a pass of some kind, and it could be potentially a logical place to hide something.
I hate to say it, but should I perhaps go first? May possibly be the lightest on my feet. Maybe the old rope trick?
Perhaps there isn't even a key over there. And if there is, what if it were trapped?
We did offer to make sure the whole place was clear. If somebody's willing to tie this rope to themselves, I'll tie it around myself and I'll go over first. Be an anchor
Alright,
point.
kind of steps
Should-
forward.
You're big.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Esco, why don't you go ahead, move your first 5 feet onto the bridge, and then everyone can get where they're going to be behind you.
As Eska moves forward, Silvarius kind of bumps her a little bit with the tugs it kind of to surprise her.
And,
Make a
A dexterity check.
make a dexterity
save.
make a dex save.
oh my.
9.
You kind of teeter a little bit, but you hold your balance.
Just shoots him a glance.
Just making sure you tied it. I've got you, don't worry.
I'm gonna light a torch
Don't put that too close to the rope, if you don't mind.
away from you, not like not in
Okay.
your face. I do have a bit of experience in these circumstances. Thank you.
So Silvarius actually casts light on the rope while he's holding it.
With extra light, is there any sort of, if I look over, does it help see anything, or does it keep going down?
That's too much material.
No larger than 10 feet in any dimension.
Any dimension.
So you can light up a 10-foot portion of the rope.
Of it surrounded around
Yeah.
Eska.
You got
Yeah.
20-foot bright light, 20-foot dim light. You can see the ceiling above you, which is about 30 foot up. You still cannot see anything at the bottom.
Try to start moving across.
Okay.
Any obstruction to that, or anything weird happen?
Doesn't seem to.
As nothing happens, I will just sort of begin to stride across then.
Okay.
Let me know if I should stop.
Are you just walking? Are you looking around? What's your plan?
I'm mostly focusing on the point in front of me because I figure that's going to help me not wander off the bridge.
Sure.
I guess I'll keep my eye on the scene as it unfolds on the platform ahead of me.
Make a sanity roll for me.
Oh, natural 20.
Okay. So as you're walking across, you try to focus on the face of the statue. And about halfway over, you start feeling a little disoriented. You become very aware of this just gaping chasm either side of you. You focus, channel it down, and you're able to push through and get to the other side. And as you're walking across, the statue comes into focus more. You kind of a little bit sort of like fuzzy-eyed at first, but it comes into focus, and you see that this is a statue of Moradin. However, as you step off the bridge onto the platform, you wince slightly as you hear a click, and you kind of look around panicked to see what's happening. Nothing immediately seems to happen. However, behind you, you hear as 3 darts spring out from concealed holes in the ceiling at Claire. They rolled a 22, a 23, and a natural 20.
Yeah, all 3 of those hit.
Yeah.
Gee.
Good dots.
So, deals a total of 16 piercing damage,
Whew.
and I need a Constitution saving throw. Okay, so these darts shoot down, manage to find purchase between your armor and sort of like right in the chink where your neck meets your armor. And as they hit, you feel, you would actually have had advantage on this, thinking about it, but you feel this surge of pain push through you. In addition to the normal stabbing pain, you feel like something else was in there. And you kind of shake it off, and you feel that maybe there was poison there, but it hasn't taken effect. However, as you sort of stagger to shake it off, you also hear a click. And in the distance, you hear... Apparently, the D20s are being kind to me today. Eska, you have just heard this little sound, and then you hear impacts and hear Claire sort of wince and cry out. And before you have an opportunity to even spin around, 3 darts spit at you. And I rolled a 24, a 26, and another nat 20. Which is ridiculous.
Dots.
So I'm also, from you, going to need a Constitution saving throw.
That's going to be a 6.
Okay. So you take 18 piercing damage as these darts hit in. And as you look around, you kind of like swat them away as they come into you, try to. And as you pull one of them out, it somehow manages to stab you in the thumb, and you feel this poison surge into you, and you are considered poisoned. You have the poisoned effect currently. Nothing else seems to happen at this time.
I would run down the hallway to check on Claire.
Yeah, Claire is just kind of like, if not full fallen down, at least her knees have buckled very heavily. Like
Yeah,
she's about to fall.
As she would like kind of like try to buckle, I would like go to grab her elbow to kind of like steady her.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the darts come from?
Now that you look up, you can see almost imperceptible. There's a couple of small holes in the ceiling right above where Claire was standing. And they fired straight down, basically.
Right after they had shot Sylvaris like drops his sword in his other hand and pulls his shield out and kind of puts it as an umbrella semi over himself and her
Mhm.
with like the proximity. It just as a reaction kind of.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you think you've got it pretty well covered. It's a big old shield you're carrying. And Cassette, when you get there,
Yes.
you see there's like three puncture wounds in Claire's neck. You can see there's like a little black substance around them too.
I probably wouldn't be able to, from where I was, be able to tell what triggered it. But can I look
Correct.
around? Because I know it would be a trap. Can I just look around her to see if I could see what triggered it?
Yeah, make an investigation check.
We're going to do likewise at my end.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
So I take a sit down.
3.
Really
So
good.
5.
I'm
Okay. I mean, even with your kind of distracted look, Cassette, you can see there is a panel that has just sunk in gently beneath Claire's foot. Likewise, Esker, at your end, you see that there is a panel that has been sunken in the floor.
more importantly, do I see any more panels around it?
Not at this time, no.
Did we know on our end that Eska's been hit?
Did you say anything?
I didn't, but I did slump down, and I guess they heard the dart noises.
Yeah, you would have heard the as the darts came out, and then you would have, because of the light, you absolutely would have seen Esker kind of slump a little.
I call back across the bridge. I say, I think it's safe to come across, but come carefully. I don't feel up to searching over here anymore.
Are you okay?
No.
I mean, I'm gonna start walking over the bridge. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll keep my eyes open for traps now, but at the same time too, I'm just kind of like trying to make sure that Eska is actually okay. You know,
Mhm.
she says she's
As he's walking across as well, I'm actually going to untie the rope, seeing as it would kind of be an obstacle on the bridge. I'm actually going to throw it so the end falls down in the pit.
Okay.
So I guess it will fall 50 feet, the lit end.
Yep. So that extends the vision down to
Like 90 dim.
close to 90, yeah. Still doesn't seem to be a bottom. And Bardor, you would have seen that too, because I think you can see 90 feet, right?
yes, I can.
Yeah, you couldn't see a bottom either.
I'm gonna step off like next to Eska, but do I see any? I'm gonna check for traps.
Make an investigation check. I'll give you advantage, actually,
Okay.
because you're a Hildorf. And this is stone stuff.
Stone stuff. It was a natural 20 that went into a 19.
Okay. So as you look around, you do see the panel again, the small recess panel where Eska stood. And just glancing around, you can see this is, based on what you saw at the other end, this is a paired trap. It requires 2 people to trigger. It also needs to be manually reset in order to trigger again. It just so happened that, unfortunately, as Eska and Claire were standing in the exact spots where they effectively shot each other. You also, as you're sort of looking around, you kind of glance over towards the statue as well. And you do see on there, so it's a stone statue of Moradin. And in the base of the statue, there is just a faint line on the back side of the statue that indicates a hidden panel. You get the distinct impression that that may be trapped also.
So I'll kind of shimmy past Eska, I suppose. Are you on the ground, Eska?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning back against the statue.
Okay. Well, I guess I won't be
You-
totally rude.
Oh, if you look like you're investigating it, I'll slide away slightly.
All right. I'll start looking at the little slot you had mentioned.
Okay.
I won't touch it yet, but I'll just see because you said it looked like it might be trapped. So I guess can I try
Yeah.
to disarm it or figure out something?
Do you have Thieves' Tools?
I don't, unfortunately.
You can attempt to disable it. but since you do not have the proper tools, it would be at disadvantage.
Let's see. I start rifling through my my backpack here. Let's see. I've got a crowbar. Maybe a hammer.
So it's going to be dexterity check with disadvantage. So what's that? 13. Like you kind of picking through your various kits, trying to figure out what might work. You eventually settle on a knife from your mess kit to try and just get in there, and you can see it looks like there's a small needle that will fire as soon as you open it. So you're trying to figure out how to do it. Currently, you have you kind of poked prodded around. You don't see a way to do it right now. You haven't disabled it.
All right. I guess I'll call out and say, so if there's a trap. I try to disable it, but I won't be able to. I'm thinking about doing something kind of stupid. Let that kind of hang in the air for a second, and see if anybody's going to stop me.
Claire just kind of calls out weakly, "Send Eska back first."
Does it? I guess Eska's gonna sort of crawl over a little bit. Does it look like you can tell which way the needle is gonna shoot out?
Make a perception check with disadvantage.
Is everything disadvantage for me right now?
Pretty much.
Okay, I couldn't remember what poison does.
Yeah,
Bad.
it's attack rolls and ability checks.
7.
It's not very easy to tell. Basically, once Bardor shows it to you, you can just see like the little point that's there. Like, but you can't discern the direction it's coming from. There's just like this tiny little speck that's showing there that indicates that there is in fact a little needle.
I'm coming back over. And she starts sort of trying to stagger back across the bridge.
Make a dexterity check again, or rather sanity.
Sanity check.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Is sanity check disadvantage?
No,
I got a 12.
you're fine.
Well, I might have a plus or minus on that.
You
I can't
got
remember how
+1,
sanity
yeah.
works. Okay, cool. So I make it back across.
With a couple of wobbles, yeah.
Whee!
What I'm going to do then is duck down and
Okay.
just jam that knife right in there.
Okay.
See what happens.
Make a Constitution save for me.
Giddy up.
As you stick the knife in there, you feel this. You kind of wince and you kind of have that classic moment of realization as you know exactly what's happening. Oh, you get advantage on this, by the way.
And
The
a
needle hits.
14.
Okay, 14. You feel the little thing stick into you. You wince for a moment. You do, however, hear the little hatch pop open slightly. You're about to say something when you realize that you're not able to produce any sound. 17 points of poison damage. Think half because you're a dwarf.
I have advantage on saves
Resistance.
against poison and resistance against poison.
Okay, so half down to 8. However, you find yourself unable to move.
Taking his time, isn't he?
Yeah, as Eska comes over, I'm gonna like hold out a hand to help her.
Mhm.
Well, I'm assuming I could tell that she was poisoned. Can I make a check to see if I can
Yeah,
tell
make a
that?
medicine check.
Oh, really? Medicine?
I act very poison if it helps.
I mean, that's what I see, and that's what
I keep saying stuff like, "Oh, I've got poisoned," stuff like that.
Ooh, okay. 16 minus 1.
Oh.
Yeah, she looks really bad. You think she might have been poisoned.
I'm going to use 5 points of lay on hands to cure poison.
Nice.
Boost her up against the wall.
Okay.
Eska kind of blinks a few times and definitely gives you a thankful glance there.
And you feel the sluggishness kind of wear off. You kind of look over and you see that Bardor is standing with his hand wedged up against the statue, and he has not moved. It's been like, I don't know, 10 seconds since he did that, and he's still exactly there.
Don't worry, guys. He said give him some time.
All the while in the same position.
Maybe.
It's a dwarf thing. Don't disturb him.
Maybe
Claire
he's
doesn't
just
do this.
concentrating.
Yeah, he's got to concentrate real hard. It was a tough trap.
Still not moving.
Maybe
Should we
somebody
should we get something to eat?
I said, I guess in theory, I'm still holding that torch.
Yes, technically. You're holding it with a rock solid grip.
I holler out.
Bardur, what is taking so long?
No response.
Should I go help? How rickety does this bridge look now that I'm close?
Make an investigation check. Or perception, either or.
We'll take a look at it too.
Same.
21 Silvarius.
And 15 for
Okay. Looking at it, you can see that it is very much designed in such a way to look very rickety, but is actually very carefully and intentionally built to be incredibly sturdy. You feel like all of you could stand on the bridge with no worries whatsoever, and probably, substantially heavier creatures even than you could stand on it with no worries.
Okay, I'm gonna go help him.
So as you cross, get about halfway, make a sanity check for me. Where did you even write it on yours? There, okay. Everyone's put their sanity in different places on their sheets. It's very confusing for me.
If we had cohesive leadership, maybe.
Well,
Sorry, please don't kill me while I'm on this rickety bridge.
let's see how you roll.
I was gonna say a sanity check on a bridge into a chasm is not the time to.
Yeah,
insult the
that's
DM.
our comments before the sanity check. Yeah, good. Okay, 16.
And +1 for you. You feel suddenly very drowsy, and you feel the need to dive off the bridge. No, you're fine.
I was like, wow, that was really rough. 6 to 17.
Okay, as I get closer, I mean, does he just look frozen? Can I?
Yeah, he's not moving. There is a light source over here. He's holding a torch. Torch is burning. He has not moved. As you get closer, his eyes are open. They don't look at you. He appears to be breathing. Make a medicine
Can I
check.
try to move his arm? Ooh, not bad.
See, as you get kind of closer and take a little look, you see the slightest indication of his chest moving. So you think he is at least breathing.
Can I try to move his arm away from the statue?
Make a strength check.
Oof.
Yeah. You're able to yank his arm away, and it does bend a little too, in a normal way. And you can, but you can see his thumb. There's sort of black. There's like this spreading of black through the veins in his thumb that's reached out, gone. You can see like the puncture wound where it went in, and then you can see it spread out through into his hand and starting up his arm.
There's some sort of trap, and I think it paralyzed him. Can I look and see if... Does it seem like the trap is still...
It looks like it's fired. Furthermore, you can see that the panel is slightly ajar.
Oh, okay. Making sure he doesn't fall into the cavernous abyss.
Sure.
I will check, see if I can open it or...
Yeah, you can just sort of like pry it open with your fingers at this point. Inside, you find 2-inch long purple stone, nicely polished. Nothing else inside. Just this small gem.
I guess I'll pick the gem up and just kind of make sure nothing happens.
You reach in, grab, kind of holding your breath. Nothing happens.
Oof, you scare me. Okay, can I put it in a pouch?
Mm-hmm.
And is the bridge wide enough that I can kind of help Bardor over even though he's paralyzed?
You feel like it might be tricky. Obviously, he's not walking himself. It's not that wide. You're a little concerned about stability
So the medicine check before, would that give me any indication of? I mean, would I know what's afflicting him after looking at his injury?
You think that this is stronger poison, but nevertheless poison.
I'll just clasp his, injured hand kind of between both of my hands and see if I can try to kind of expel the poison with lay on hands or disease.
So you grab the hand and mutter a prayer to Eldath. You feel some warmth pass through your hands and into Bardor's body, and it takes a moment, but eventually you see the fingers start to twitch, and eventually, Bardor, you have control of yourself once more.
I like as soon as I pop out of it, I should have tried my mason's tools.
You feel like that may have worked better.
Okay, let's get back across.
I may have seen those on your sheet and wondered if you might pick them.
Yeah, I didn't think about them until after I was poisoned. So I'll just take a deep breath and say thank you, lad.
I'll show him the gem just so he knows I got.
So you stole it.
Yeah. And I'll put it back in the pouch.
Mighty fine.
I'll start making my way over unless Bardor wants.
Sanity check halfway over, please.
5.
Okay. When you step on, it's not so bad, and as you get towards the end, it's not so bad. It's just when you're right in the middle and you feel that emptiness around you, that's when it gets you. And for a second, you feel like the darkness is just going to swallow you. And then you just grab your holy symbol, close your eyes, take a breath, and carry on.
Go across. Is anything bothering me?
Nope.
Okay. I am going to kind of put the torch, hold it over the edge, and just look down and drop it. Watch it as it goes.
You wait. You keep waiting. Eventually, you can't see the torch anymore. It just seems to disappear. Maybe 300 feet down, at least.
Yep. And I go, yep, fine, dwarf construction, and just keep walking.
Practically a cavern to the 9 hells.
Some would call it cozy.
Cozy.
Does Silvarius give the rope back, or is he holding on to that?
He pulled it back up. And
Okay, cool.
if it was your rope, he hands it over to you. He just kind of
Cool.
soft
I
tosses it towards you.
Well, I know we just rested, but I think it might not be a bad idea to take another break again.
I feel fine.
Well, half of us took darts to the neck, so I don't think it's really up to you, Silvarius.
Next time, be more aware.
She just huffs at him.
Anyways, did it prove fruitful? What did we find?
I'll take out the gem and hand it to Silvarius. This is all that was back there. I haven't had a chance to look at it very well, but you might know more about it than me anyway.
Perhaps.
Roll a d20 for me again.
The 9.
Just sort of pass it through your hand. You kind of hold it up to the light from the brazier there. You get the distinct impression that this has been enchanted in some way.
Some form of an enchant.
I'll walk over to the Bifrost.
It's not its name.
Does it do anything if I make it close to it?
As you approach, the barrier sort of shifts. It almost acts like it's repelled by the stone. So if you sort of hold it up about, say, chest height, the barrier almost goes concave around that point.
So surprised look kind of on his face.
Enchanted indeed.
Kind of a curious look on his face.
But why would it have been over there? Curious.
Claire, you seem to kind of understand what this was. Is this normal?
Well, considering I'm apparently not very observant, maybe you should ask Silvarius. Maybe he knows.
I know not of the ways of the dwarves, why they make deep chasms over bridges to trapped statues. That is more your thing.
It's not just a dwarf thing.
This whole tomb or shrine has me wondering. Barrier, our necromancer friend. We can come back to this, however. We still have presumably a bit more to explore.
Silvarius is gonna hold the stone out towards the wall one more time to see if it kind of like pushes it in.
So you're like holding it up towards the, like putting your hand towards the barrier.
Yeah.
Okay. As you do so, the barrier sort of like, again, it kind of pushes in as well, trying to maintain sort of distance from it.
I'm gonna slowly creep forward as it's doing that to see if it keeps pushing.
It does.
Silvarius just kind of walks into the.
Okay.
Pushes forward as long as it doesn't just stop moving. But he's gonna.
You're able to walk through, and eventually you see the barrier retreat fully to the walls, and with a faint pop, it disappears.
Whoa.
And eventually you just see the corridor open up in front of you. And this looks very much like the corridor you've been in before, just from the other end. There was some small steps leading down into the corridor that you nearly fell down, but you're able to see those on your way down. I kind of forgot they were there because the barrier was in the way.
Right.
I couldn't see them either.
That was fancy.
As you look at the stone, it feels different now, more mundane.
Can I take a look?
By all means.
Hands it over.
Just want to take a look at it, being somewhat of a jeweler myself.
Yeah, make a jeweler's tool check.
Kind of want to assess it for value and such. Gonna be. Oh, sorry, I did it with advantage. I assume the first one was a 21,
Yeah.
but it was amethyst.
Yep. And you have a little loop, a little eyepiece that you sort of pull out. Sort of like hold it up to the light. Appears to be a fairly nice example of an amethyst. Seems to have been quite nicely cut in such a way that it catches the light in some interesting ways sometimes, especially with the flickering light behind it. You would guess somewhere in the region of about 100 gold.
We could maybe sell this if we need later for supplies. It's worth a decent amount. And I don't understand entirely, but this barrier may have been put in place by the necromancer rather than the dwarves themselves. In which case, this stone is probably may not even be of the temple. It's hard to know at this stage.
Maybe.
And the fact it disappeared now makes me wonder if it was just a defense the necromancer put in place.
So, do others need to heal? Looks like it might not be me for a change.
I will go with the group decision. I could, if we want to push on and try and get out of this place, I'm willing to sort of hang near the back and provide cover if the tougher members want to push on this time.
Well, I can at least top you off a little bit. And Claire will cast Cure Wounds just at level 1 on Eska.
We'll take any topping off that is presented.
So she gets 9 HP.
A lot better.
Well, I mean, I can lead the way again, and in this time, if I find out anything's a little suspicious, I'll push Silvarius and Cosette forward since they're a little bit more armored.
Can I listen at the door? Because is this the door, Eska?
This is the door.
You heard?
Go ahead.
Do I hear this?
Make a perception for me.
Well, let's see.
Nothing really catches your ear.
Is this the same style of rotating door as the other ones?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Silvarius is just.
I'm tired of waiting.
He's gonna walk on through.
Okay. As soon as you open the door, you see another door at the end of a short corridor, about 15 feet.
I want to
Another
be
silver door.
following him pretty closely.
Gonna pull my sword out, cast light, and kind of check for traps.
Okay. Investigation, please.
6.
Feel confident the area is safe.
Completely clear.
Walk through the next door
Okay.
with utmost confidence.
You may roll initiative.
Okay.
As you go through the door with the utmost confidence, you
Just
see
puffed out.
inside 2 more of the stone sarcophagi that you've seen a couple of places so far. You also see, slumped against the wall, what looks just like 3 lumps, maybe like piles of clothes or something. But then as the door opens and the light sheds in, you realize that these are not lumps. They are, in fact, badly decaying creatures that suddenly have an interest in you. They sort of shamble to their feet, look at you hungrily.
Do we all kind of roll
Oh, yes.
initiative?
Yes, everybody's rolling initiative.
Okay.
I mean,
Or we're
I'm
just leaving Silverius in
I'm
there.
hanging out by the braziers. I don't know.
3.
That's a 2 for Claire.
Yeah, 3. Sounds about right.
So, Varys, you're well traveled enough to know, and I don't think you fought any of these yet in here. This is, this looks like a zombie to you. Shambling mound of undead mass. Distinctly putrid smell. You're a little bit shaken as you see them. You try not to show it, but you're a little bit slow off the draw. You've kind of just barreled in there. Eska was expecting danger. Eska, you are first.
Sort of hear the sound of potential trouble.
Yes, I would imagine there's some sort of gasp followed by a kind of noise.
I mutter to Claire as I go through the door. He probably should have been more aware. And can I see through the door, or is it kind of swung around closed?
Roll a percentile dice for me.
That's gonna be a 26.
It is closed.
Okay. That adds flavor.
Right now, you're just in a dark corridor with a cassette.
So that's nice.
Actually, it's not dark. Your rope is still lit up.
It's true, yeah.
You're in a very bright 15-foot corridor.
Seeing that, I'm gonna back out of the corridor. Can I sort of go through the door in a way that leaves it sort of sideways?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna ready my bow for a shot as soon as I see the door open.
No problem.
Sound reasonable?
Yep.
Would it be a free action to drop my rope when I see the corridors dark and see that the people that can't see in the dark are up ahead of me? I mean, I know Silverius has some light, but I know Cossette's not great in darkness.
So I feel like you would have had your bow out already, anticipating danger. So yeah, I could say you could just quickly flick off the rope and drop it.
But I in casting light on my sword, I think it took it off of
Oh,
the
you're
rope.
right. I forgot. Yes, no, it's not lit up. My mistake.
I dropped my rope in the corridor. In the dark corridor and then back out.
Okay, that'll be dangerous terrain. Got it.
Okay, yeah, in that case, never mind. I'll just have my bow at the ready to shoot.
On the other side of the door, the zombies move. So they reach out and just basically kind of... It's like this really massive, unwarranted, unwelcome hug as the zombies sort of barrel forwards and try to meet in the middle. Unfortunately, there's just a Silverius there. 3 attacks total. Not 3 each, don't worry. A 6, an 11, and a 20 to hit.
20 hits.
I had a feeling. It is 4 bludgeoning damage. The zombie in the directly in front of you runs up and just pushes you back, and you actually you back into the door, but of course you hit right in the middle, so the door doesn't open at all. You just find essentially the hinge point, the pivot point of the door, crack you back into it, and then sort of stagger back forwards into the middle. Unfortunately, because of the way he did that, he made it so that the other 2 zombies just ended up sort of like high-fiving in the middle. They missed you completely. Okay, Bardur, you're up.
I don't really know what's happening at all. Seeing Eska back out, can I ask her like what happened? Like, what did she see real quick?
Sure, you
Is
can
like,
ask.
Is like my bonus action or something? You know what I mean?
I mean, you can ask. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't cost you any kind of
Okay.
action.
Cool. I just want to get like
Reaction
because
time.
I saw her jump in and then jump out, so it'd be like, well, what happened?
You can give a very brief response.
Silverius trapped himself in the room with something.
That works.
Okay. All right. So, is this door here kind of open?
This one is, Eska took care to
Okay.
intentionally hold that one open at the halfway point.
All right. Well, I guess I will just have a action ready. Like I'll have my bow ready, and I'll just scream as loud as I can to fall back.
Okay.
Fall back, and we'll cover you.
Okay. Silverius Cosette, you go at the same time.
On the other side of the door, you hear this loud thunderclap.
We have to make con saves.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 5. That's a 7. Yikes. Remember how I was rolling really, really well earlier? All gone. 5, 7, 7. So yeah, there's just this explosion of sound. Well, if there was anything here that didn't know about you, it's safe to say they do now. The zombies around you, all of them, just sort of like it just sends shockwaves through this awful fatty mass on them, and it just kind of keeps wobbling for a few seconds after the spell goes off, and you feel like they all took full damage from that. Cassette, you would have heard that, and actually, I'll say the door would have sort of span around rapidly when that happened from the force of the impact within 5 feet.
Like in a Three Stooges episode.
So you just see like
Do they switch places?
no,
Okay.
but
She runs in to help. Silverius runs out to leave.
Yeah.
so Cassette, you do see like Silverius resolving the end of his spell. You see the impact on the zombies, and you're sort of like staggered back a foot. There is a brief opportunity, Eska, if you wish to take a shot. This would be 3/4 cover because of the spinning door.
I'm gonna, if you'll allow me, wait for the door to open for a bit longer.
Yes, you can.
So,
This would be
okay,
a harder shot. So yes, I have no problem. with
screw it. I'm taking it. Never mind.
that. Right. Okay.
It'll be cooler if it hits.
That's true.
And it's gonna be a. No, never mind. It's gonna be a 12.
There's this loud boom, and then the door starts spinning. And it at first it's going very fast, and it starts slowing down. And just as it's about to close, you loose the arrow. Right underneath Cassette's armpit, glances slightly off Silverius's armor, and lodges itself deep in the thigh of the zombie. Roll for damage. Okay, 7 piercing. So, yeah, you feel like somehow you've managed to land a pretty hefty blow. You feel like that was a solid contact. Silverius and Cosette, what would you like to do?
Can I push the door open and say, Silverius, come back. We can lure them. Can I see the
you may
group?
say
Can
that.
I see that they're all ready, I guess?
As you glance back, yeah, you can kind of see
I guess the arrow would have clued me into their kind of paying attention.
that too.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would just kind of
You probably feel a little bit nervy about that too. Like, you're not in a great position right now. You know you have 2 archers behind you, and you basically just got a free armpit shave. So that's great.
So I'll beckon him back to retreat.
He looks back and he says,
I'm not running from this.
and he leaps up onto the casket thingy.
The
Yeah.
sarcophagus thing. Yeah.
Sarcophagus.
Okay.
And hops down here, incurring the 2 attacks of opportunity.
Yeah. And they swing out, and 13 and 14 to hit.
Miss and miss. And then he's going to action surge, lifts his sword up, and brings it down onto the sarcophagus, casting Thunderwave. Straight up into the... should hit all 3 of them.
Certainly will. Yes. Con saves again.
Yes.
They rolled very well, I'm afraid. I got a nat 20, an unnatural 20, and a 17. So
All 3 of those would have cleared.
yeah.
So I think half damage.
Yeah. So more shaky zombies.
Phil, I know I'm in an awkward angle, but would I have gotten a shot off on that?
Yeah, as I think as the door, maybe not during the spinning sequence, because you're at an angle.
Right.
You would have one now at probably again at 3/4 cover.
I was
You can
assuming
see
I was
one of them.
like holding the door open, waiting to see what Savarius did.
Yeah, and so while Cassette's holding the door open, and then probably looking aghast as he parkours
Runs away from there.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then as Bardor knocks an arrow and Cassette's right in the middle of this nice little jamboree.
yeah.
All right, sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
25,
Yeah, that all kinds of hits.
7 damage.
So Cassette, you're standing there, and then an arrow whips past you on the other side this time, and lodges itself in the other thigh. So there's a zombie that's standing right in front of you on the other side of the door with arrow shafts sticking out of both thighs.
Ace Ventura style.
Zombie nearly looks like he's had enough.
Okay.
He sort of shudders and shakes, but finds resolve to carry on.
Well, I think my Dread Ambusher kicks in. Right.
Yeah, so take another shot.
24 with 3 damage.
This time, Cassette, as you're still trying to figure out what on earth is going on, you feel like you're in a shooting gallery. One more shot comes over your shoulder this time, and goes right into the eye socket of the zombie. It looks like it's about to fall over. Like its head tilts back at a very, very wrong angle. It's like straight back, sort of 90 degrees. And then it looks like it's about to fall, and it suddenly clicks its head back, now with an arrow sticking out of its eye, and just sort of stares at you blankly with its unseeing eye right towards you. I mean, you feel like you did what should have been a fatal blow, but the zombie is still standing.
Seeing as we're now fighting in here, and starting to like Silvarius a little bit more, I guess I'll step in. Okay, but I'll try to hit
24 hits. 13. You go for your trusty uppercut, and it comes in and just tears a giant hole through the torso. The shoulders start to slip back, and then once again, you just hear this, and the zombie literally almost pulls itself back together and stares at you, unmoving.
Well, darn.
22 to hit.
Oh, I think that...
Yeah. Kind of slaps out at you as you try to escape, and you just feel this thud on your back, dealing a rather puny 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Did you take pains to prop the door open as you went through?
No, I guess not especially. I didn't think about that. I mean, I was holding it open, so I guess I didn't actively close it, but if it does...
Eska, roll a
automatic.
percentile dice for me.
Oh no. Okay. 77.
It stays open this time. There are pretty high odds of that closing, too. Okay, Claire, you're up.
Okay. Muttering heavily under her breath about Silvarius and something about being observant, and she's gonna move up to the door here. She scrunches up her face real hard, and a giant unicorn hammer is gonna appear right here, smack in the middle, and she casts Spiritual Weapon.
Okay, so this giant hammer comes up and just cracks down on top of the zombie's head. 18 hits and 4 of damage. And despite the impacted skull, he remains standing.
Ooh, these puppies are tough. So as a bonus action, her hammer is going to float over here, right above the sarcophagus, swing its big ol' head down again on green guy instead this time as a bonus action. Oh, which was a natural 20 to hit.
Oh gosh, that hits for a lot of damage.
So
14?
14, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It comes down into the chest of the green zombie and just caves in most of the chest. Most of the rib cage just shatters and splinters away, and the zombie sort of totters and like leans up against the wall. He's not down, but he looks like he's ready to fall.
And then she's just going to kind of tuck herself back outside of the door again. Not quite so much in the way of Eska and Bardor, whatever they want to do.
Speaking of, Eska, back up to you.
And that one central between the things still up.
Still up.
Firing straight at him again. A 13 to hit.
Hits.
10 damage.
So you aim carefully, and this time the arrow goes through the neck, and you can see, and Silveris, you have, and Cassette both, you have a great view as this arrow comes through, severs the neck completely, the head topples off, and the zombie collapses to the floor, no longer moving. Red zombie turns, tries to slap the taste out of Cassette's mouth, slaps the taste out of Cassette's shield instead. No damage. Green zombie turns to attack Silverius. Gets distracted, tries to punch the unicorn hammer, and its hand just sort of like seems to float through. It looks very confused and does not hit.
The hammer kind of bobbles mockingly in the air.
I bet it does. Badur, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna cast Zephyr Strike. I'm gonna aim at the green zombie because I think that's the only one I can see right now. Both are 18.
Yep, that hits.
All right, so for 12 damage.
And then the extra D8 as well.
1.
So 13 total. So Eska, you're standing there next to Bardor, and you just see this sudden blur as way faster than you've ever done. He quickly knocks and launches this arrow, and it flies forwards through the two doors, and much like the zombie that you shot, having seen that, he knows, shoots through the neck, decapitating the zombie. It falls to the ground, no longer moving. Silvarius Cosette, you have one zombie remaining in front of you.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, why not?
Bash away. And that hits.
12 bludgeoning. Standard uppercut.
Standard uppercut. Since you're elevated, that comes right through into the jaw, knocks the jaw clean off. So it's looking very, I mean, it was looking rough when you got there, but it's, you know, it's had its insides shredded by weird thunder power. Severus.
Gonna rush around. Sword's gonna ignite into a white flame. A 23 to hit.
23 hits.
7 damage.
The zombie briefly ignites in flame. These white flames just start licking all up its body. The room fills with a putrid smell of rotten flesh burning. Somehow the zombie stands. You feel like that should easily have been enough, but it's somehow finding some sort of resources unknown to you to stay upright. Claire.
She's gonna move up into the doorway to see into the room a little better. And the hammer's gonna float over here in between Cassette and Silvarius and take a big old swing again.
Take a big old swing.
For 23 to hit.
Okay. So the hammer comes down and it swings straight down. And it just keeps going and keeps going and just smushes the zombie into mush. And there is just an awkward looking stain on the floor. The zombie is very much defeated.
Yay.
And there's a brief pause as you sort of check around to see if there's anything else happening. Seems safe for now.
Is there anything else of interest?
Make a perception check for me.
2. I'm doing far too much of our perceiving this.
You're a little distracted by the giant spectral unicorn hammer that just turned a zombie into pulp.
I mean, it is very sparkly, so.
Hmm. Rainbow colored.
Oh, sure. Why not?
So Varus, you have your wits about you a little bit more. You see the two sarcophagi that appear to be former priests of Moradin. Nothing else really grabs your attention.
Gonna stand. He's staring at this hammer, looking at it, perplexed look on his face.
This thing is awfully colorful.
He opens back the door and he's looking down the hallway at Claire.
Hmm.
She pokes her tongue out at him, and then the
Start
hammer just kind of dissolves into glittery dust and disappears.
The room is clear.
Since I think we might have gone through everything, I'm actually going to use Primeval, see if I can sense any I know
Okay.
it does other things too, but I want to see if there's any other undead presence around.
Okay, sure. You spend a moment. You check to see what's around you. When you did this before, the feeling of undead was very strong, and you got a vague sense maybe there was some sort of undead vibe coming from the forest, but you're not really sure. Beyond that, again, you also pick up dragons. Say, maybe a fiend. You're not sure where, but within a mile of you, all of that is on your radar, so to speak.
Right. So to recap on the undead, I'm sorry.
Right now on the undead, only very, very faint. You think probably they must be right at the edge of your range, which is a mile from you.
There doesn't feel like there's much of anything left in here. There might be some presence in the woods.
Let's get out of here. I want to get back into the fresh air.
So you head back up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
find yourselves back in the upper portion. Claire, make a sanity check for me.
That would be a 6.
Okay, as you come up through through the stairs, you think for just a second you hear the laugh of the flame skull again. You kind of like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and there's just this cold sweat that suddenly comes over you. But as you get up, nothing seems to be here. Possibly just an echo.
Eska's gonna actually push one of the doors open and have a look how things look outside.
It's probably sort of like around about 4ish. Looks like a nice day. I think it was a little chilly, but otherwise fairly normal day.
Gonna stand at the door with it propped open then.
Okay. Nice breeze comes in. Flames in the brazier sort of waft gently.
Back
We've gotten
back
this
to
far,
town and let them know what we did.
Yeah, we can, advise and say there's a possibility there's more stuff in the woods.
It's getting late, and the night always seems to lend the undead a certain extra power, so perhaps searching the woods during the day would be the safe.
Good course of action.
Do we set up camp? I mean,
I suppose it is safe.
we could even, we could even do it on this floor. I mean, we could sleep here if it was seen, fit. People were comfortable enough.
And perhaps we can fortify the door.
Is there a walled roof to this, or is it really
Yes.
just like...
Yeah. No, it can be sealed in. I guess kind of like hanging on little hooks. There's like a metal pin that's about a half inch in diameter. Looks to be some sort of metal that's being hung off hooks, and you can place them in little holes at the bottom of the door to stop it from swiveling.
If I'm being honest, I'd prefer to stay outside. But I'm willing to watch as long as I can.
Is there access to the roof? It's like to the roof. Like, is it like a
parapet
fortifications on
wall?
the top? Yeah, like
So it's like a smooth stone. So it's not immediately very obviously climbable.
Is the roof flat looking?
Broadly speaking, yes.
Silvarius.
Aye.
Curious about the roof. As a potentially good vantage point. Would you mind attempting to give me a boost? Let's see if I can jump up there.
I mean, I have climbing gear.
Yeah,
If
that
you
works too.
Well, I guess I'll go outside and fashion up my grappling hook on my rope.
Mhm.
Try to find a spot that looks like it might, catch.
You might be able to get a purchase. Make an attack roll. Just roll a d20 and add your dexterity.
What was it, 13?
Yeah, that's fine. That's plenty. You give it the old swing-a-rooney, toss it up there, and give it a little tug. Feel pretty confident that you've latched onto something.
So, you want to give it a shot, Eska?
I'll scarp her up there.
Give me acrobatics.
Okay. It's gonna be 8.
Okay. You get about halfway up. Think it's going really well. Get a little overconfident. Lose your grip, and you just fall back, and you just like flat back on the ground. Large thud. Take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
These walls are really slippery.
Shall I try?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would maybe go slower than I did.
Since you got your climbing gear, give me athletics with advantage.
Okay. 15.
A little bit more slow, a little bit more methodical, but you're able to climb up onto the roof without any major event.
So what do I see up here?
You get a slightly better view of what you saw down there.
Okay.
It's beyond that. You do have a broadly speaking flat roof. There is it wouldn't be dwarven if they hadn't engineered a way of making sure that the water ran off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's essentially just a smooth stone roof.
Not really. There's no like walls up or anything like that. Not really a great defensible position or anything like that.
It's very difficult to get up there. So, unless whatever was trying to attack you could either fly or had a grappling hook, you feel relatively confident that you are safer up there than you are on the ground.
While you're up there, what does the roof look like?
It's smooth stone,
Smooth,
just like the walls. Yeah,
Nope, she's solid.
it's just dwarven engineering at its best. No obvious joins between the wall and the roof either.
Right.
It looks like it's just basically like this giant stone structure was just placed here
Right.
in one piece.
I mean, I reckon it'll be safer on the ground. Might be windy.
How cold's it gonna get this evening?
Low 40s with a light wind. You feel like you wouldn't necessarily even need a fire if you've just got your bed rolls and a warm cloak.
It's up to you guys, though. I know some of you like the comforts in life.
Well, to be honest, there's already a fire here, and we can bar the doors. It seems safer than maybe sleeping in the woods.
And my vote is always indoors.
Am I coming down?
Probably should.
Alright.
Fortify
will.
the inside. Keep warm.
Although, is there a way to kind of like close up the entry to down below?
Doesn't appear to be, actually.
I mean, it's still a little early yet, I imagine, but at the same time, maybe we could get a good rest and start off early in the morning or something.
Eska makes a good point about the undead being more active in the dark. This may be an opportunity to see if there are stirrings at night. Your sensings have worried me. The newly arrived fiend. I would hate to stumble upon a dragon without knowing more.
I do not need quite so much rest. If you give me 4 hours or so just to rejuvenate, I would happily keep watch for any movement whilst the rest of you sleep. If you wish to both get reconnaissance and sleep, that would be one possible way.
And gesturing to herself, Silvarius and Cassette, she says, and obviously I don't think we're going to be doing much sneaking.
I mean, I don't plan to go anywhere, if that helps. I literally just plan to keep watch from the roof. I do not wish to head into the woods tonight. but purely to keep an eye to see if anything stirs, whilst others rest.
That might not be a bad idea, is at least maybe if if it is more active, then we'll be safe here. Based off of my knowledge on the stonework here and everything, would we be able to hear if Eska called out in the middle of the night from the top and we were on the inside, Phil?
Make a history check with advantage.
10.
So how thick?
Couple of feet. You feel like if she called out, you would hear. It's not a perfect seal around the door.
I think I'd be able to let you know. And if time, in the time it took you to get up, I have ways to evade. I do plan to keep myself well hidden against the stone.
Seems like a plan.
If we're still pretty early in the evening, I could just do an early sort of trance so that I'm able to be active again by sort of 9ish or something. Sound logistically okay, Phil?
Sylvarius is good. So Sylvarius wants to actually get an early rest and try to wake up more in the middle of the night-ish.
I'm okay with that as long as we are agreed that this is just reconnaissance, and if things get too rough, we pull back.
As I say, I do not plan to leave the roof. Unless it is to retreat back into here.
So, Eska, where are you gonna do your trance?
In the corner of the room, I guess.
Okay.
I would normally do it outside if we were in a safer spot, but seeing as we're not sure what's going on, I'll just go in the corner and so that I can not have to worry about what's going on.
Okay.
As soon as I can, I'll snap out of it and head up top. My intention is to effectively lay prone, cloak kind of covering me, as still as possible, and just kind of keep my head tilting to see what's going on around.
Gonna go to sleep fairly soon, Sylvarius?
Yeah. He's going to
Okay.
bed down with his sword and everything kind of laying at his side.
Is your intention to join me up top when you wake up?
I may. Yes, I would.
So, Bardor, you're taking... Bardor, there we go. You're taking the first watch, you said?
Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll just kind of, snack on some of my rations and, I don't know, pull out my dice set and just start rolling to myself and just kind of sitting in a corner.
Okay.
Yeah, Claire wouldn't be interested in going to sleep yet. And actually, probably for a little while, she would just kind of quietly go around the room, casting prestidigitation to kind of just clear up some of the cobwebs and dust and everything.
Between the three of you, you kind of easily see out through the first 4 hours before Eska's ready to wake again or sort of recover from her trance. Kind of see her kind of shake back to regular consciousness. It is dark outside.
So I'll poke my head out the door and just check everything's okay. And then, assuming I don't see any armies of skeletons, I'll give everybody a nod and head up on the roof.
Give me a quick perception check.
15?
Don't currently see any hordes of undead. Don't see any undead at the moment.
That's even better.
If only you rolled 14.
Yep.
Yeah. I will grappling hook as many times as I need to hit the other side and climb very carefully up and hunker down. So I would probably hunker down on the northeast corner,
Okay.
looking mostly towards the woods, but in a way that I could kind of look back sort of behind me a little bit as well.
Give me stealth with advantage.
27.
Yikes.
Oh, that's a natural 20. Nice.
And then that 19.
About time. That's all I'm saying.
You think even the gods might struggle to see you up there?
Yeah.
And they're looking down. Well, some of them. So, a couple hours passes. Nothing out of the ordinary. Make a perception check for me.
We got a 13.
A little ways into the woods, you hear a couple of twigs snap. You listen. Wait patiently. Nothing. Put it down to
Hey.
just animal movement.
I stifle a scream of alarm and continue.
And just as your your heart rate has dropped back down, you hear the sound of Silverius pushing the door open.
Okay, I creep over, lower the rope.
Grabs a hold of it, kind of test tugs it, and ascends to the roof.
Yeah, you've seen how not to climb now, so you know how to do it safely with no issues. So you have quite a nice view up there, with no dark vision. Thankfully, it's quite a clear night, so the moon is doing a reasonable job of lighting up
That was
the
my
area
discussion.
around you. It's not easy to see by any stretch, but you can see to the tree line, especially once your eyes kind of settle to being outside after being in with the sort of the ever burning forge and the brazier. It takes a little moment to adjust, but yeah, you feel like you would if something sort of emerged from the woods towards the temple, you feel like you'd see it if you were looking in that direction. It's very quiet out there. There's, the occasional animal sound. Gentle breezes blowing that rustles the nearby trees to your south. But other than that, well, there's almost no sound from Eska. You can hear the chainmail sort of like clink very softly as you take deep breaths in.
What does he do?
When he gets up top, he starts just with inquiring.
How goes the watch?
Quiet. I have seen nothing. Silverius,
Yes,
may I be frank with you?
nothing stopped you before.
I still do not trust you. Could you allow me something that might help me trust you?
There's a kind of pause to look to him. He's,
Why do you not trust me?
I've had problems with your kind. I have had big problems with your kind in the past. Though I wish I could trust you, I cannot.
I got this feeling that may have been the case our first meeting. And since then, there has always been this apparent concern or weariness more than what I would call typical. And you questioned me a day prior, and my heart, where it lied.
Your answers did not give me concern, but your nature does.
You have sparked my curiosity. How is it that I can garner your trust?
Let me in a mind. Do not seek your secrets, but I do seek your character.
You ask me to freely let you delve into my mind.
It's an exercise in trust.
And what do I gain from this exercise?
Would gain just that. You would gain my trust for trusting me.
But I know very little of you. You show up
and he's gesturing kind of at your clothes.
like this, yet you are far greater. I know you have quite the capability. You have powers. I know you are stronger. Not in the physical sense. There are abilities you are not showing.
In truth, I do not yet know what I am, so to try and explain to you would be pointless. But I understand your trepidation. Truth be told, I share that trepidation. All I can really tell you is that I was raised by good people, and my heart wishes to do good. I do not understand fully the things I can do. I do know, though, that I find every day with you difficult because of what you are, and that is not fair, but that is what it is. You white dragons have only had bad experience.
And he kind of keeps a stare at you, thoughts racing in his head. Kind of leans forward a little.
Back at the inn with Duarte, what did he say to you?
Said nothing to me. To be frank, I do not know why he chose to do what he did. So perhaps seeing what happened to the others in the inn, I am thankful despite our troubles.
So he somehow chose you amongst us all.
Maybe I was just close enough. He seemed desperate.
Very well. Seek your answers in my mind.
Thank you, Silverius. Know this. If I do sense that your heart is in the right place, you will go from having somebody who could be your worst enemy to having somebody who will have your back at any chance. And I guess I will cast Detect Thoughts, and I will push deep. Do you have to roll to resist, or is it optional?
I would say if the subject is willing to permit that, then they would essentially auto-fail.
Silverius, what do you consider your greatest weaknesses?
Oh, asking Silvarius what his greatest weaknesses of character is.
And I'm both looking for a verbal and non-verbal answer.
He outwardly he chuckles, and then you get the sense there are sometimes doubts in himself in being able to handle everything on his own. Like obviously in game terms he doesn't like stealth real well, but he realizes that he can't be the quietest, or he might not have the best grasp on certain aspects of intellectual like histories and religions, and but he doesn't say it at all to you. He just chuckles,
And what of your greatest strengths?
and he just kind of tilts his head, and he feels very proud of his swordsmanship. He a gifted arcane combatant in his mind, at least. And you might even get the sense that he's overly proud.
Would you ever take advantage or be aggressive to those you consider weaker than you?
Simultaneously, you hear and feel.
Purely depends on the situation.
Are those who are vulnerable, not warriors per se, but regular folk?
Again, that may depend on the situation. Think of it more whereas I would taking advantage if it would reach a greater cause under certain circumstances. But everything is dealt by a situation to situation basis. It's a complicated question, that one is. Not one to be taken lightly.
Guess that's fair. Do you fear Silverius?
I fear little.
He says, as you hear in his mind, fearing failure. Failure to his order and failure to justice in a sense of being able to stop greater evils.
I guess at that she probably nods One final question, though it may not be fair. What do you truly think of the others?
What of them?
Do you trust them? Do you respect them?
To varying degrees. Bardur, easily recognizable as a capable soldier. I see this as a potential to our cause. His skill, magical abilities, and Cosette as well. She has quite surprised me. My initial thoughts of her, she was perhaps timid, young. But seeing her in every encounter, I grow more and more impressed. The little one, Claire, I see potential in her. She does strange things for a cleric. Knows more than I am aware they know. Trust them in this situation, in this fated position we are in. I believe I must place my trust in them.
Yes. We're in a tough place in regards to that. Well, Silverius, I see nothing in you that truly scares me. Not outside of your actual ability to kill, which is obvious. What of your larger cousins? Do you trust them? Do you trust the white dragons?
White or platinum?
What is the difference?
Well, platinum dragons. When have you encountered a situation with one to put you off so much? Bahamut is terrifying, but he is just.
I have encountered a large white dragon, and it seemed to only have hatred and greed in its heart. And that is what made me fear you.
It would have been a false dragon.
Seemed real enough.
Hard to tell. I am faithful to my kind, my ancestors. To the utmost faith goes to Bahamut himself, the great Marduk, grandfather of dragons. He is whom I serve, my order serves him, and we do it justly and right. You had asked me previous where my heart stands. It stands against the tides of darkness. My order, we fight battles in the dark. The ones no one hears about. There are sacrifices made, lives lost. I may very well one day be one. But it is for the right cause. So whatever distrust in white dragons you have, around me you may put them aside.
And I'm assuming I don't sense any other kind of thoughts that go against that.
It's pretty on par with his, with his words. He fully believes and sounds everything as it comes.
She sort of like makes a small show of the fact that it would have dropped. Maybe she had been kind of like holding her hand out or whatnot to indicate that she was engaging in it, and she lets it drop to her side and she just says, Q Silverius, I have much to think on from what you've said, but be truthful, I sensed little of what I feared in you.
What do you mean by this?
I feared that there may be a darker, more aggressive, more greedy side to you. But little of what you said indicated that, and that sets my mind at rest somewhat. Up until this point, your, if you'll forgive me, somewhat gruff nature made it hard to discern what truly lay beneath. I can't see anything of the white dragon in you.
My gruff nature. Huh. All you southerners are soft.
Actually, I'm not a southerner.
Oh,
but perhaps I am soft. I give you that. You have my utmost thanks. And I will not forget that level of trust you placed. I'll sort of plunk back down, and I mean, she's not gonna like move away from him like she normally would. She just sort of plunks back down and keeps a watch and just, you know,
Let me get
lets him do what he wants.
perception from both.
19.
As you are getting to the end of that conversation, you sit back down. You kind of just stare into the woods. There's just this moment where you feel like the woods are watching you. And you keep looking. Silvaris, you notice that Esker's kind of gone quiet, and you sort of follow the eye line and look to... and the moon... There's like a shift right at the edge of the woods. And the moon glistens off something. And it's hard to make out what it is. It seems like it's maybe 20 foot up in the trees. And then it moves forward out of the trees, just ever so slightly. Just so that it catches more of the moonlight. And you see the head of a dragon. 20 foot up. Huge head. Larger than Silvarius, easily.
Possible to see a color.
A little bit tricky because of the moonlight. It's kind of playing tricks. Kind of difficult to pick out color in this light. But you kind of quickly glance over to Silvarius. You can kind of see the way that the light is hitting his metallic scales. And you would say, if not the same color, at least that sort of element to it. And there's just this moment, maybe 10 seconds, where you're just all staring at each other. And then you think maybe the hint of a smile. And the head withdraws back into the trees. And you hear just some very faint snapping of twigs, almost imperceptible. And then it's like it was never there. That seems a good place to end tonight.
Well,
What happens when you go sassing dragons out in the open there, Eska?
Evoked their wrath. They're all coming for me.
you know, Silvaris, I don't like white dragons. What's that out there? Whoa.
Well then, thank you very much for watching, everybody. What an interesting finish. Who could have seen that coming aside from a DM? If you are interested, we are available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. I think there's more. I lose track. And of course, YouTube. If you want to see the little tokens moving around and you're just listening right now, you see little tokens moving around and maps and so forth. Thank you. We'll see you for more fables from the Pickled Quipper. Bye-bye.
And whenever you're in the Underdark for that long, you need to make sure that you have nice jerky to eat.